Okay, so here at the decision table, we continue to look at the problem and then looking at the solution and seeing how we can narrow the gap. And I think, I wasn't even going to come on here today, but I felt really drawn to come on the decision table. I'm in the middle of innovating and creating some pretty amazing things for the upcoming Global Human Intelligence Forum. And I couldn't help but continue to see what's going on in the feed. And I just wanted to say, a couple of things. I think that one of the things that I really want to open up a platform and the big thinking behind the Global Human Intelligence Forum. And this is literally not a, hey, you should be coming to it. It's actually because of what I'm seeing. And now more than ever, I see a need for a platform where we can come and begin a different conversation. We are seeing a lot of where, COVID hit, there was frustration, there was devastation, there was amazing fear around what that was bringing to the decision table and how it was beginning to look for the results that we want at the table. And, it put it meant that a lot of us had to change where necessarily you were going, what was happening, all that sort of thing. So, COVID came along, and then all the things that are coming along into the feed today, about lives and about whether it matters. I think humanity matters. I think that all of us matter. And I want to give us a platform where we can start changing. We can't change what has been. We definitely can't change, but we can look and analyze and start pulling apart and start working on what can bring us closer from problem to solution. If all we do is focus in on the problem, we are never, ever, ever going to see that gap narrow. In fact, what it brings across the world is that it actually widens the gap. And I think that we have to be careful in what we're saying, in who we are bringing this to and how we do it. And I think, I spoke with my twinsy yesterday. He's one of the speakers at the Global Human Intelligence Forum, and his name is Earl Amin. And he's just an amazing guy. And he identifies himself as an American of African descent, and he's known as a business sociologist. So he really deep dives into distilling complex concepts. And so who better was it to have a conversation around what is happening across the world at this point that seems to have taken over our feeds. And I just thought the way he said it, and what I'm excited about is his keynote that he's bringing, which is pan-economic recovery, where he believes recovery lies in the willingness to let go. And I think, one of the things that we've talked about is how do we literally narrow the gap from what is happening across the world at the moment and bring it back to the table and go, what if we're making decisions at the table that we're looking through the lens of humanity, and that we bring, as humans, distinctions to the table? That would mean that we would have to change the conversation. That would mean we would have to look at it through the lens of different thinkings, different, maybe even make different decisions at the table, maybe even think about how we are running our workplaces and change those things. And I think what is and can be frustrating is this, that we lose the hope that there can be a change. And the only way that we can bring that change is if we are willing to be that change, to provide places in which we can bring this change. And I think if you ever get anything about what the Global Human Intelligence Forum is, it is that we know there are things that are not right across the world. We know there are things that are not right in your workplace. We know that what has worked to get us the results at the moment, some of those things are going to work as we continue to go forward, but not all of those things. So how do we start? And I think that we have to be careful that all of a sudden we're not just focusing in on one problem and then forgetting that there are so many other people. I've got a beautiful friend in my world who is deaf. And I know, and if you are watching this, big love to you, Echo. But like, here's the thing. We don't often make decisions at the table realizing that maybe someone who's coming into your world that needs the solution that is the problem that the solution you're bringing, that they need to hear about it, that they need to be able to bring that solution to what they're doing in this world as well. And yet we're not providing the services that could help for the deaf to be able to hear what you've got there. I've got a son who has special needs. And over the years, I have to say, there has been many opportunities, many moments where we could have walked the other way, but we decided to try and figure out how can we best help him. But the resources weren't there. The way people have innovated solutions at the table didn't provide him with what he needed, but we needed to look for those. We needed to find what they were. And if we couldn't find it, we needed to then bring it into our world. And I think that is the best hope that we can have, is that even though we don't like what has been, we can make a difference to what can be, and we can change that. But the only way we're going to understand it in bigger, stronger ways is if we come together. And instead of bringing this widening that and bringing more diversity that is a negative thing into the place, we come together and we find how we as a unity, as a group that come together, a community, a tribe, a culture, whatever it is, a movement, that we begin to realize that the only way that we can see hope, the only way we can see change, is if we're willing as a community of people to be part of that change. And I'm not necessarily going to know what that is unless you bring that to the table. So I think, more than ever, I'm so grateful that in a few days' time, we are literally 5 days' time, I think, from this. We are starting the Global Human Intelligence Forum event, and I'm really excited about it because of this. That I think that we bring hope. We've got amazing speakers, and I just found out that today, instead of having one of the amazing little pieces in there that I thought was going to be I would have to record them, that are actually going to be in the house. And so that's going to be exciting. And I'll tell it more over, I'll let a little bit of that out a little bit later. But, here is an opportunity for us to bring a lot more of these conversations, because the speakers in the house are going to be, they are global leaders of their industry. So even when I don't understand the industry of which you're in, maybe you can relate to one of those. Maybe you can, these are people who are bringing amazing changes in their workplace. And I think that's what brings hope, is when we learn what others are doing, when we can see and bring to the table. Maybe you've got questions. So there's open forum. There's going to be moments where you can add your value to the table and your thinking, and maybe that will broaden some of our horizons, and we will be able to, and I always say innovate different solutions, but that's literally it. Use it as lenses to make better decisions at the table that we know is going to benefit humanity going forward. And I mean that in a way that I know I've got children and I want to make sure that I'm leaving behind a legacy for them that they can then springboard off. Are we doing that with some of the decisions we're making at the table? Is this the change that you want to see? I know that I want to see a change that is more collaborative, that we disrupt the patterns that haven't been working, and that we innovate smart, sustainable solutions, and that together, you and I can add value to humanity going forward and impact in a much bigger and greater way. So, maybe instead of focusing in on the problem, let's start focusing in on how we can be the solution and bring the solution to the decision table. Now, I'm open. I know this has been full on, this conversation today, but I think this is where we need to be willing to have conversations. I'm open to questions. I'm open to thinking. I would love to see what you've thought of what I've been saying, how you can add value. Just remember, though, if you are to comment, that do it in a way that is going to be adding value to humanity, not taking away from. We don't need to pull other people's thinking down. We just need to start being willing to listen to other people as well. And so I'm really open to hearing what you have to say. I thank you for, again, always being willing to listen, and to for those that do comment, those that are a part of my world, that you continue to open up the conversation so that we can go deeper and deeper in the levels of how we understand, and then hopefully make better decisions at the decision table. All right. Well, it's been great. I thank you for watching. I thank you for being a part. And those that are on the replay, please do make sure you comment. And, if you've got questions, or if you want topics on the decision table, then happy to have some pretty interesting topics. I haven't forgotten some of the ones that we've got, and we're going to be bringing those on the decision table as we go forward as well. All right. Big love for today. Make sure that you focus in not on the problem, but on the solution that you can be, or bring, or want to start being able to bring. All right. Big love. See you soon.